God gave me this platform. I already know I'm going to win.
China did our vote. Biden and Harris would say, hey, we're here to protect the country, and resign.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Just forget about the evidence. This was attacked.
MyPillow is very, very mad at Fox News. He continues to be very, very mad for not putting themselves into more financial jeopardy to support his insane 2020 conspiracy theories. So now I'm going to show you a video here. This is Mike Lindell on his, I believe his own show, Lindell TV, on the Right Side Broadcasting Network, where he's going to claim that Fox News are criminals. Take a look.
That's when Fox went silent on us. We badmouth Fox every night here on this show. Shame on Fox. They've done more damage to our country than all the bad media combined because we expected them to speak out. Just at least talk about the, at least be a journalist. It's like being a Weather Channel doctor and you can't report tornadoes or hurricanes. You can report everything else, but you can't report the worst thing, the election, or you can't talk about anything negative about the vaccines or therapeutics that work. You cannot do that on Fox. Fox is in on it. They're criminals to our country, period. Yes, I hope the Murdochs are watching.
I love some of the examples that he threw out. Oh, yes, it's like being on the Weather Channel, not being able to talk about hurricanes. Or how about this one? Not being able to talk about climate change. Or how about being a history teacher and not being able to talk about systemic racism? Oh, shoot, did I just touch a nerve? I wonder what MyPillow would say about that one. Because it seems to be happening. How about in Florida where you can't talk about LGBTQ plus issues? You know, the whole don't say gay bill that now threatens to have children be outed forcibly to their parents. Yes, I wonder what MyPillow thinks about all of that. That we can't talk about that. But you could talk about my insane conspiracy theories. Look, it's cute that that MyPillow thinks that Fox News does actual journalism or anything near close to it. No, what Fox News does is conservative opinion. Now, look, there's nothing wrong with that. I do progressive opinion, so I don't really care. Hey, you got an opinion that's conservative? Totally fine. You're allowed to do that. Free country. It's a free country. Now, however, it is important to note that a lot of the stuff they have is not backed up by factual information. And so it's opinion, not journalism. And the truth is, of course, there's a lot of news outlets nowadays that don't do any sort of journalism. And not even some of the bigger players that don't do, or it's very, very rare that they do some sort of journalism. It's often left to, of course, smaller outlets to do actual investigative journalism, which a lot of newsrooms have unfortunately gotten rid of. And so, all right, now that said, why are we talking about journalists? Well, every credible journalist that has looked at MyPillow's insane rantings has come out with the same conclusion. Hey, that's nuts. Completely false. There's no information to back that up, no factual information. There's nothing. You're just making up conspiracy theories about the election. That's really it. And so now for Fox News is already being sued by Dominion. Okay? Now, if they continue to talk about the election and really, and by the way, they still do in a way, and I'm going to go about, I'm going to talk about that difference here in a minute, right? But right now they're being sued for defamation. So what they do, if they continue to air MyPillow's, weirdo symposiums and all this other stuff, the so-called evidence, right, that he has for, the Chinese and the Iranians and the Pomeranians and the Italians, they stole the election. And this is how they did it. They did the packet captures. They took a mitt and they packed and they captured the packet. That's what they did. China. Okay, yeah. If they show that stuff, and by the way, involve Dominion and Smartmatic, which a lot of these conspiracy theories rely upon, oh, yeah, Dominion created by the ghost of Hugo Chavez. Well, then that's going to hand ammunition to the lawyers for Dominion to then use against Fox News. So Fox News no longer airs that stuff and no longer explicitly talks about, oh, the 2020 election was stolen by Dominion and Smartmatic. What they're doing now is a far more subtle approach. They're saying, well, we have concerns about voter fraud. Big concerns. Big concerns. And, we believe in election security and we should have more secure elections. And there's real problems with so-called irregularities. Yes, and the drop boxes, well, they invite all sorts of fraud, and early voting invites all sorts of fraud and all that stuff. Now, that's what a savvy organization that actually is looking out for itself while doing propaganda does. But see, MyPillow is not a savvy person. MyPillow is a stupid person. He's not very bright. He can't read the subtext. When it comes to policy, and this is ultimately what it's for, right? Because Fox News, their pundits know they're full of shit when it comes to the election. Their whole purpose is to spread the propaganda of insecure elections so that they could do quote-unquote election reform, which in reality is finding different ways to suppress black people's votes. That's essentially what it is. And so, and also to prevent anything that makes voting easier. And so they're vastly against that. And so that narrative can be with or without referencing the 2020 election. And so in reality, they don't need MyPillow. They don't need MyPillow and a stupid symposium. In fact, they're better off at this point without it. Even though, by the way, they have allowed MyPillow to have his advertising, his MyPillow codes, whatever, and his commercials on there, just not the ones about the election. So MyPillow is actually the one who pulled his own commercials from Fox News and then decided to go to war against them. And so that brings me to the other thing, right? Which is, I think, fairly obvious. This is MyPillow screaming into the abyss, give me attention. Give my election conspiracies attention specifically. You air my conspiracies or I will pull my ads. And he already has. Now, Fox News, when they gave that ultimatum, they said, okay, okie dokie. Oh, okay, so go ahead. He doesn't realize that Fox News doesn't need him. MyPillow needs Fox News more than Fox News needs MyPillow. It's not even close. They can find easily another person who was more than happy to push their bullshit voter suppression without getting them into further legal trouble with Dominion or Smartmatic. Now, the bonus is, of course, they might not be completely and totally crazy. Just evil or opportunistic or both for a paycheck. That's really the only requirements to work in conservative media at this point.